Hi, boys and girls. So there are 3 chapters, very small chapters left of Buckle and Squash, The Gigantic Giant Goof-up by Sarah Courtauld. So I'm going to read them to you without stopping the video. I hope you enjoy this. I hope you know that there's another book after this one that answers some more questions about our characters. And they go on another adventure. So I hope you enjoy this book. Chapter 24, in which there are rabbits. There was only one person in the whole land of the giants who had a more miserable morning than Too Big, and that was Boris. The holy snail was nowhere to be found, and she was finding it hard to remain calm. Doris and Horace weren't being much help either. In fairness, that wasn't really their fault, since she had turned them both into rabbits. As the carpet soared through the air, Boris couldn't help but muttering to herself, "Typical, just typical. You just had to ruin everything, didn't you? You had the most precious object in the whole of Squirb, but you lost it. You went and lost it because you are an idiot, Boris. You're just a complete, utter, total." And then all of a sudden, everything went quiet. Chapter 25, in which there is a butler. Meanwhile, Prince Ludwig awoke and was delighted to find himself back in his very own kingdom. "You know, I met the most wonderful girl," he told his butler Godfrey. "She will be forever imprinted in my memory. I must find her again." "It shall be done, your highness," Godfrey replied. "Simply tell me her name, and she will be found." "Well, she comes from the realm of Squid, and her name is Ravalier, I think. Or was it Conifer? No. Pamela? Hold on. I think it was Jennifer. No. I know. Caliper. No. Bannister? That was it. Bannister from Squid. Chapter 26, in which there is a cup of tea. Meanwhile, in a far corner of the kingdom, deep in the realm of Squirb, old Tumbledown Farm was back where it belonged. The chimney was restored, the front door was back on, the giant cat-shaped dent in the wall was gone, and everyone was safe and sound, as if Too Big had never stolen their house in the first place. "Home," Eliza said. "We did it." "We did it," Lavender and Bonnet agreed. Eliza had never been so happy to look out the window and see the gray, cloudy sky, the overgrown yard, and the dark, gloomy forest beyond it. She had never been so happy to smell the muddy, grassy, slightly manure-y smell of their backyard. And "Grandma Maud! Grandma Maud!" she shouted as she saw her grandmother coming down the path. "Afternoon, all," said Grandma Maud as she wandered into the kitchen and collapsed into her rocking chair. "Well, I seen you've all survived without me. Goodness, I've had such an adventure. If I told you about it, you wouldn't believe me. Not for a second." "Why? What happened?" asked Eliza. "Well," said Grandma Maud, "it was just as I predicted. I saw the end of the world." "The end of the world?" said Eliza, frowning. "Oh, yes, it was quite wonderful. You know what I saw? The rabbits of the apocalypse flying past on their carpet of catastrophe." "Right," said Eliza. She and Bonnet exchanged glances. "And then I drank a little tea, just one sip for every year since the world began. And then I felt a little sleepy. That must have been because of the apocalypse. Definitely, said Eliza. And then everything went black. You see? Not really, said Eliza. The world ended, my dear. I'd tell you more, but you just wouldn't understand. No spirit of adventure. That's the trouble with you, she said with a yawn. But Grandma Maud, said Eliza, the world didn't end, did it? It certainly did, said Grandma Maud. But if the world has ended, Eliza persisted, then how are we all still here? Oh, that's quite simple. The world ended, and then a new one began just afterward. Take a look around. Everything might look the same to you, but not to me. I mean, look at your sister out there in the yard. She's drinking out of a puddle. Oh, yes, so she is, said Eliza, looking out the window. Lavender had indeed slipped out into the garden and now was bending over a puddle, sipping water from it. You see, I told you so. We are in a new world. Said Eliza. She could have explained the whole story to her grandmother, but it seemed much, much simpler not to. The next morning, Lavender and Bonnet were sitting on the roof. It was Lavender's new favorite place. She liked the feeling of space it gave her. Are you all right, Lavender? Said Bonnet. I'm completely all right, said Lavender, and totally back to normal, although it is a bit sad not to be able to fly anymore. Oh, and I seem to have acquired a taste for worms. What was that? Said Bonnet. I thought you just said worms. Said Lavender. They're so juicy and earthy. I don't know why princesses never eat them. I've got a whole bowl full. Would you like one? Not right now, said Bonnet. So, do you think that Prince Ludwig has gone back to his own kingdom? Bonnet asked. Not really, said Lavender with a smile. I don't want to go any more faraway kingdoms. No, no. And I don't want to marry a prince anymore. You don't? Said Bonnet hopefully. No, I want to stay here, said Lavender, in the back of beyond with everyone I care about. Eliza and Grandma Maud and you, obviously. Me? Said Bonnet, blushing like a robin and thinking how beautiful Lavender looked as she helped herself to another generous mouthful of worms. Of course, said Lavender. I don't know what I'd do without you. Bonnet's stomach flipped over like an excitable young pancake. This was his moment, the moment for him to say everything he wanted to say to Lavender. He wasn't sure exactly what that was, but he did know it would include words like wondrous and loveliness and phrases like happy as a scone and I might go easy on the worms if I were you. He took a deep breath. Lavender, he began. And Gertrude, of course, said Lavender. I don't know what I would do without Gertrude either. Down in the yard, Gertrude gave a little grunt of appreciation as she chewed on another delicious bonnet. Of course, said Bonnet, sighing, we mustn't forget Gertrude. Lovely, lovely Gertrude. And that, my friends, is the end of the gigantic giant Goof-up. Sarah Courtauld has written many books in this series, so I hope that the two books that I've read you, that you are interested in, and you seek them out in the library. All right, my friends, happy third graders to you, and I will post this tomorrow for you. I miss you. Have a great day.